John Colo at DiscountJuicers.com. Today we have another exciting episode for you, and this is an episode you guys may have been waiting for. It's the episode where we're going to compare side by side the Omega NC800, which is identical to the NC900, only the color is different, and the TriBest Solostar 3 juicer. This is TriBest's latest model. Both these machines are horizontal single auger machines, and these are the latest and greatest and the best of the best horizontal single auger machines out there at present time. So in this comparison, I'm going to kind of go over the pros and cons and the differences and similarities between each machine. And then at the end of this video, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and do a juice off, and we're going to compare juicing greens and cucumbers in both machines to share with you guys which one will reign supreme in the yield test in this juice off. So let's get started. So first, let's talk about the price. So at present time, the Solostar 3 is $20 more expensive than the NC800. Now, one of the major benefits, in my opinion, of the Solostar 3 is that it can be used as an electric juicer, as you see here, but it also comes with a hand crank attachment that is included with every Solostar 3 juicer sold. And what you do is you simply take off this whole end cap off the electric body, you put it on the manual unit here, lock it into place, you'll have a clamp, you clamp it down, and now you can hand crank juice when the power goes out, if you're tailgate partying, if you're hiking, camping, or traveling. So I definitely like this a lot. So that's really cool with the manual attachment, so it gives you the flexibility to keep up your juicing lifestyle on the road or wherever you may be, or just in case Y3K hits pretty soon and you're still around. So let's see here. The other things are the design, of course, of the machines. You know, the Solostar 3 has more of the square box design. This has been the standard, you know, with juicers, kind of like not looking super modern. I kind of like the look of the Omega NC800. It looks a bit more modern, curved lines. But also this housing is actually a fair bit longer, so if you have a little counter space, you may want to go with the Solostar 3. It takes up a little bit less counter space. Next, we're going to go ahead and start disassembling the units. Probably the first thing is that the NC800 has a nice wide feed chute. In my calculations, it's 82% larger because it is a stadium size or stadium shape, whereas the Solostar 3 basically has a 1.5 inch diameter circular feed chute. So the next thing, you know, while these are both horizontal single auger machines, they're both dual stage single auger machines, which means as you put the produce in on the initial crush, that stage 1 juice drips out the bottom, comes into your collection cup. Same on both machines. And then stage 2, as the pulp gets worked down the auger and crushed and the juice squeezed out, the juice is expelled in stage 2, even more juice. And so let's go ahead and take these guys apart. Both these guys got the end caps, and they're you know, fairly similar in design, although they look a little bit different. This is Solostar 3 here. It has basically an outlet knob that has you know, infinite positions that makes it tighter or looser, which keeps more or less back pressure on the pulp to get it drier. And also with the NC800, it has basically an easier dial, you know, with a larger piece that's not going to maybe drop down the garbage disposal as easy, because I have had that happen to customers. But it actually is numbered from 0 to 5. So 5 puts the most back pressure on the produce being juiced, and 1 puts the least. If you're juicing things like fruits, you're going to want to have it on a lower number, or maybe even off. And if you're juicing things like leafy greens, carrots, and hard vegetables, you're going to want to have it jacked up to 5. Next, let's go ahead and pull out the screens. This is where the machines design vary widely. So you guys can see here, actually you got them on the wrong side. You guys can see here the screen on the Solostar 3 juicer. This is stage 1 here, and then this is stage 2. And on the NC800, stage 1 is this screen on the bottom, and stage 2 is the screen right here on the end. So as it's crushing in this machine, it's also squeezing out the juice, and then it has a little area where it's crushed up even more, and then more juice is expelled. So what do these two screens mean by just looking at them? Well, number one, this has a lot more screen area. So in general, more screen area means more places for the juice to come out, which means you're going to get a higher yield. So it's going to be interesting to see the juice off in just a little bit. But the negative and the flip side to more screen area is that it means you're going to have to clean more screen, and cleaning the screen in any juicer is the hardest part because fibers get stuck in the screen. So you're going to have to sit there with the included toothbrush style brush to clean this all out. So with the NC800 there's less screen air to clean, so this makes cleaning easier, but this will also produce probably less yield. We're going to see that in a second. For me personally, I'm kind of lazy with cleaning juicers, and I'd rather have the juicer that's easier to clean unless the yield is like a lot more, so it's me interested to check that out. Next we're going to go ahead and pull out the augers on these guys, and as you guys can see, once again the machines are a little bit different. The auger on the Solostar 3 is significantly longer. It has a little bit different design, So this is the first stage where it's kind of like crushing and squeezing the juice out. Then it gets to the second stage, which is really getting aggressive and really trying to grind up that pulp to get every last bit of juice out. Then it goes into this stage, and then it even has this little extra area here where it drops down, where it's going to get your final extraction before the pulp is expelled out of the machine. This is the NC800 auger here, and more of a standard design in augers. The juice basically gets crushed on stage 1, the juice comes out, then it goes down, gets worked against the screen, gets crushed up more, and then stage 2 is right here at the end. The longer auger means that the produce or the pulp will be in the juicer longer, which means you'll probably also get a higher yield. Finally, we got the main bodies, and I'm glad to say on both main bodies, which are fairly similar, although the NC800 has a non-removable funnel, whereas the Solostar 3 has a removable funnel. Both these body parts are now made out of the Eastman Triton, which is the BPA-free copolymer. We're going to go ahead and install this guy back together. Real simple, real easy. Now on the Solostar 3, you got to read the screen where it says upper, and you're always going to put that face up. And then also on this guy where the little nozzle thing is, that always goes face down. Locks right into place. With the NC800, once again, put the auger in there, put the screen, this part of the screen goes always face down, line that up, and then put this guy, lock it into place. Now the next thing, besides just the standard juicers, are the catch containers that come with the machines. These catch containers are kind of more modern, nice and clear plastic. Looks like they hold a little bit more volume than these more standard traditional square containers that come with the Solostar 3. Now the thing I want to point out is with the Solostar 3 you not only get one straining sieve, you get two. So some people do not like pulp in their juice, and I always encourage the manufacturers of juicers to include these little standard sieves with their juicer. I mean, these are very inexpensive parts to include if you're a manufacturer, and I believe every juicing company should include a sieve for the people that don't want pulp in their juice, especially with any slow juicer, because slow juicers in general make more pulp in the juice than the high speed ones that many of you guys may actually currently own. So I like that they actually include two sieves. I generally don't need to use this one. I just kind of keep the one over here as the juice comes out. Actually, for our testing purposes, we're going to keep this guy off because we're going to strain the juice in the same exact strainer later on. Now besides these juicers just juicing, and let's stop there for a second, these horizontal single auger juicers are probably the best juicers for juicing things like wheatgrass and sprouts. I mean, if you want to juice wheatgrass and sprouts and you want to do a lot of them, you want to get a horizontal auger machine, and I definitely could recommend one of the two here because these are the best of the best that's currently on the market available at this time. These guys also juice, besides the wheatgrass and the sprouts, the greens, leafy green vegetables, the best out of any juicer. Up to present time, the Omega NC800 and NC900 is the reigning champion on juicing greens, although, it's going to be interesting to see if the Solostar 3 will unseat it. So that's really cool. Now, if you want to juice, John, I want to juice straight fruits, like I want to juice pineapple juice, like only pineapples, right? If you want to juice only pineapples, these are not the machines for you. They do not tend to juice, soft fruits by themselves that well. Now, if you wanted to make like a pineapple carrot juice, put a piece of pineapple, a piece of carrot, a piece of pineapple, a piece of carrot, it's going to work great for you. These machines need like that hard fiber to help eject out that the soft fiber of the fruit. In general, I recommend you guys eat your fresh fruits or blend them up anyways because they are so delicious as is, and I like to keep the fiber when I eat my fruits by blending or eating them whole instead of juicing to reduce the amount of time the sugar is absorbed into my bloodstream. So with these machines and hard vegetables or standard vegetables like carrots and celery and things like that, these guys are going to do fairly well. You know, the main thing with these machines is because of the smaller feed chutes and the smaller auger, you're going to have to take a pusher and push each produce item into the machine, which I'm not a big fan of. That's why I personally like the vertical slow juicers, but they're not as efficient on the leafy greens and don't juice the sprouts and the wheatgrass nearly as well as these guys. So once again, you know, this video is here to share with you guys what these juicers do, how they perform. Be sure to check my other videos on how other juicers work, because one of the other juicers that's not included in this video may be the best juicer for you. You know, I look at fitting somebody with a juicer like a shoe salesman back in the olden days when they used to actually measure your feet, you know, put it on, feel your toe, and, you know, make sure that you got the right fit. I want to make sure you guys get the right fit of juicer and get the one that's going to best meet your needs. You know, I'm not like a store where you could go into, just buy the juicer, try return it. I want to do more than just let you try and return it. I want to let you guys know all the capabilities and how it will work before you get it, to set realistic expectations that you'll get the right juicer the first time. So I guess so besides just juicing, both these machines come with something like this. This is known as a blank plate or a solid plate. And what this does on either machine, once again, you take out the juicing screen, you put in the blank plate here, and what will happen is you put this back together, and anything now that you put in this machine will basically be ground up. So whether you want to take coffee beans, grind it up into ground coffee so that you can brew, I recommend actually drinking fresh juices. You could take roasted peanuts, put it through here to make your peanut butter. You could make frozen fruit sorbets, so that's real popular in this day and age. Instead of eating ice cream that has double the amount of calories, think about it, double the amount of calories as frozen fruit. So say you take frozen ripe bananas and then you freeze them that have been peeled, you put them through the machine, it basically makes a soft serve style yogurt coming out, but it's 100% fruit. You could actually mix other frozen fruits in there to make delicious desserts that taste good without any added sweeteners. 100% fruit, you're eating healthier, and you can eat 2 times as much to reach the calories only of the ice cream. Plus then it is also, of course, dairy free for those that are lactose intolerant, and they don't have all the additives, you know, and words you can't pronounce on the ingredient labels. You know, I recommend you guys eat whole foods, you know, foods found in nature, not things made in factories and put in packages, bottles, and jars. And I'm proud to say that both the Omega NC800 and the Solostar 3 juicer by Tribest allows you to do just that. I guess the next thing we're going to get into is get into this juice off. So we're going to weigh up our produce and we're going to get juicing. Alright, so now we're ready to do that juice off. We're going to go ahead and do the weigh-in. We got baby arugula here. It's 11 ounces in a container each, and then we got some cucumbers. So on the Omega NC800 side, as you guys can see, we have 0.860 pounds, and then over on the Solostar 3 side, looks like we got 0.860 pounds. Alright, this is going to be an even fight. Alright, next we're going to go ahead and take these baby arugulas off, and we're going to go ahead and get a weight on our cucumbers. So over on the Omega NC800 side, it looks like we got 1.614 pounds on the cucumber. Over onto the Solostar 3 side, looks like we got 0.164 pounds of cucumbers. Alright, so this looks like it's going to be an even match. Let's go ahead and take these guys off the scales, and let's get ready to juice off! Now, keep in mind that with the horizontal single auger machines like I'm using today, I am juicing the baby greens, which are quite tender and fairly easily juiced, although these machines may operate better with large fibrous leafy greens, you know, kale with the long stalks, and yes, juice the stalks. These machines really love the stalks, and the fiber really helps push the pulp outside of the machine, you know, and get it expelled and juiced up properly. I think what we're going to do first is we're going to probably juice with the Solostar 3 juicer first. There's a rocker switch on the top. We're going to simply turn that on. We're going to go ahead and take a handful of greens here and put in this little feed chute, and this feed chute is fairly small, so this will take us a little while to feed those guys in and push them right in the machine. The cucumber is almost auto-feeding. We're literally going to drop that guy in there. As you guys can see, chunks are getting off, put off, basically without me even pushing it. We got the pulp coming out here. We're going to make sure this guy's all the way tight to ensure we get the most amount of yield in our collection cup. Next, we're just going to keep rotating the greens a little bit at a time, followed by the cucumber. Think we're going to come back at you when I'm about halfway done. Alright, so I've been juicing for about 3 minutes now in the Solostar 3 juicer. It's working quite good, other than just having to put the greens after I take each handful and kind of shove it down the small little feed chute. Now, because I am juicing the baby greens, it makes it a little bit harder to feed here. But if you had large greens, like large collard leaves or kale leaves, you can just simply roll them up like a cigar, shove them in there, and they're going to juice a lot easier. I'm going to get back to juicing the rest of my arugula and cucumbers, and we'll be back at you when I'm about done. Alright, so we got the last handful of arugula going right into the machine. And no matter what you're juicing in the Solostar 3 juicer or any other horizontal auger juicer, I always recommend you guys rotate your produce. So, you know, put in a handful of this, a handful of that, a handful of whatever else you got. Don't just put in all your carrots and then all your kale, or all your carrots and all your apples, right? Do like a little bit of one, a little bit of another, a little bit of another, and then repeat until you run out of produce, like I just did. So there we go. We got a bunch of pulp and a bunch of juice. Oh, the cucumber's still a little bit stuck in there. We're gonna get that guy all the way out. We're gonna let it run just a minute to get all the juice out, and then we're gonna start juicing in the Omega NC800. Alright, looks like all our juice is out. We're going to go ahead and turn that baby off. I'm going to go ahead and get primed up and ready to go. The Omega NC800 has the on and off switch on the back. We're going to set this to a 5. Looks like we're all set up and ready to juice in there. You always want to make sure you have your juicing screen on and in place. Turn this guy on and let's get started. So I'm kind of looking forward to juicing in the Omega NC900, just due to the larger feed chute. It makes feeding, especially this baby arugula, significantly easier than on the Solostar 3. So again, drop a cucumber in there, and it's probably a little bit more auto feeding just due to the larger feed chute size on there. So I'm liking this a little bit better, and I'm confident this will actually take me a little bit less time because it's easier to stuff things in a larger hole. Alright, so I'm continuing to juice with the Omega NC800. It's going significantly easier because literally this feed chute is so large I can just stuff the produce in there and then use a little cucumber to push it in. I don't have to use this whole thing. And actually the feed chute is not quite as tall as this guy is, so I find it feeding produce in is a little bit easier. I really haven't even had to use a little pusher here. Now the other thing I want to caution you against on all slow juicers, whether you got a horizontal or a vertical slow juicer, these are slow juicers. You know, they run at low RPMs. Both these guys run at like 80 RPMs, and because of that, it takes a while for it to process the produce. What this means to you is that you don't want to just keep cramming the produce in as fast as you can, because the machine needs some time to work. If you put stuff in too quickly, you're going to get a backup in there, and it's not a good thing. Another reason you may get a backup is if you're not juicing hard fibrous things, and it's not coming out because you have the tensioner set on this guy like too much. I have it set for 5, which is going to get the driest pulp, which is what I want. And we could do this today because of the high volume of arugula that we're juicing. Looks like we're coming down to the end of the arugula, probably like one more handful, and we've just got a handful more cucumbers to juice, and we'll be right back at you with the results. Alright, so we got the last cucumber to feed in to the Omega NC800 here. We're going to go ahead and use one cucumber to help push the other cucumber down. Now, one of the caveats with the slow machines like this, you know, if something gets stuck in the bottom, you'll be tempted to put a knife, a spoon, or a fork, or something else in the machine. You know, I've had girlfriends that stick knives. Oh, I could get that last stuff in there. Whatever you do, don't do it. I've also had girlfriends that stick knives in there and they broke my machines, and that's not a fun thing. And if you do stick something other than the pusher down your machine, it will void your warranty, will not be covered. And let me tell you, these augers are a pretty penny, so don't do it. Only ever use the pusher to push things into the feed chute there. Alright, looks like all the juice is dripped out of the NC800. Looks like the pulp has stopped flowing. This is your sign that you're ready to turn the machine off. You gotta go ahead and move some of this stuff out of the way here. And first I want to do for you guys is compare the pulp actually. I like comparing the pulp here. So we're gonna go ahead, we got both pulps here. This is the pulp out of the NC800. We're going to do the full squeeze. As you guys can see, definitely dripping some juice out, not 100% effective. Now if you did want to get more juice out, on these juicers, the horizontal auger juicers like this, you can't actually stick the pulp back through the machine and run it through a second time to get this pulp even drier. I'm not going to do that for the sake of this test because most people are not going to do that. We're just going to go one time through. And on the Solostar 3 juicer here, we're going to go ahead and pick up the pulp and wring it out. And this one, notably, is significantly wetter. So this should also show with the yield, and that's what we're going to check out next. Let's go ahead and get our measuring cups here with our strainer. So we're going to remove all the pulp and also show you guys how much pulp each juicer created here. And when I remove the juicing pitcher, I like to put in the pulp catch bin so in case any drips, it doesn't drip on the counter. We're going to go ahead and pour off the Solostar 3 juice first. Looks like it's fairly clean, not too much pulp actually getting caught in the screen. So actually I do like this a lot actually. I'm not a big fan of pulp in my juice. Getting down to the end, looks like a lot of the pulp actually had settled down in the bottom. And there also is some foam that we're tapping in to the screen there. So we got it all emptied. Next we're going to go for the Omega NC800 juice. Let's go ahead and lift this guy up a little bit. Put this guy in there. And this one has a little bit nicer pouring spout and angle here. And this one immediately, I mean this hasn't settled as long, but it's immediately significantly more pulpy off the top. And we're pouring this in to strain it. Alright, tapping that off. As you guys could see, that's all for this. Next, let's go ahead and give you guys a close-up shot and see which juicer will reign supreme in this juice-off. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and tap these guys down a little bit more. And we're going to do the close-up on the reed. So on this side, the Solostar 3, looks like we got a total of just about 20 ounces of juice. This is definitely commendable. I did see vertical juicers make about this amount of juice. Let's go ahead and check the pulp. As you guys can see, there's virtually no pulp that was caught, you know, in this screen, which means the Solostar 3 makes almost a virtually pulp-free juice, if that's what you're looking for. Not the same with the NC800. Looks like it did catch a fair bit of pulp there that was caught by the strainer. And once again, the NC800 does not include a strainer with it. But check it out, man. If we look to see how much it yielded, wow, man, almost 24 ounces. I'd say a good solid 23.5 ounces. So what this means is that the NC800 actually produced, I don't know, maybe like 15% more juice or thereabouts, you know, just off the top of my head. I'm not a math magician. But yeah, 15% more juice in the NC800. It's $20 less expensive. That being said, the Solostar 3 does include that hand cranker, which actually is quite nice. It took a little bit longer to juice in the Solostar 3 due to the smaller feed chute. I like actually the wider feed chute in the NC800 made feeding a lot easier, so I could juice all those leafy greens so I could get them into my body. Guess the last thing I need to do today is drink my juice. Charge me up, I'm ready for my day. With that, I'm going to have to crown the winner of this juice-off comparison. And the winner is, drum roll please, boo, the Omega NC800 produced 15% more juice, costs less money, has a 5-year longer warranty, and it's definitely my pick at present time for the horizontal single auger juicers. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Once again, my name is John Kohler with DiscountJuicers.com. Be sure to visit DiscountJuicers.com/YouTube for special promotional offers for our YouTube visitors. Alright, this is John Kohler with DiscountJuicers.com. Today we have another exciting episode for you, and this is the one I know many of you guys have been waiting for. And this is the juice-off between the Solostar juicer by Tribest and the Kuving